football. Will Selva's out in the newsroom in Culver City with the latest. But first, Throwdown Thursday, Hoffman or Hanks?
Absolutely Hanks all day. And I also would have thought, out of anybody on the table, it would have been Peter going the opposite way. I knew it. Absolutely knew it.
You're acting like Dustin Hoffman is like Steven Dorff or something. Dustin Hoffman's one of the greatest actors ever.
Steven Dorff is the face of e-cigarettes. How dare you, Peter?
I like Steven Dorff.
Yes. don't get me wrong. I think Dustin Hoffman, fantastic. I just think that I look at what Tom Hanks has done. I think it's better. That's all. This is my humble opinion. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, will he or won't he? This is the question surrounding Patrick Mahomes' playing status Sunday against the Titans. Now, Mahomes was a full participant in practice Wednesday. Of course, this is seen as a positive development. That being said, KC has not said that Mahomes will be the starter at Tennessee. The reigning MVP hoping to return Sunday. If he does, it would mark 24 days since he dislocated his kneecap. Remember, the initial timetable for his recovery was that he'd be out at least 3 games. Head coach Andy Reid says they are not going to put Mahomes out there unless it's safe. Meanwhile, Colts quarterback Jacoby Brissett practicing Wednesday on a limited basis. He's dealing with the sprained MCL suffered against the Steelers. Head coach Frank Reich says Brissett is not a slam dunk to play against the Dolphins. If he can't go, Brian Hoyer would get the start. Sunday night will be a reunion for Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer. He served on the Cowboys staff from 1994 to 2006 as the defensive backs coach, then as the DC, the defensive coordinator. Head coach Jason Garrett was a Cowboys QB during Zimmer's time in Big D and talked about their time together.
For me as a player, he was always so generous. I was always so curious about, why they're doing things, and we would spend a lot of time. I'd ask him questions about coverage philosophies and what works well against it, and does this bother you? If we did this, would that be something that gave you guys some problems? And he was always so generous and gracious with me, really educating me as we went. Zim and I used to talk all the time. I mean, he came in here and had such a positive impact on our team, and I think everybody who was around him knew right away he's a hell of a coach.
And our Deion Sanders would say the same thing. He's often brought up Mike Zimmer in glowing terms. Cowboys, we should mention, have the #1 overall offense, and the Vikings have the #7 overall defense. So that should be a good one there that we'll be seeing.
It's your Sunday night matchup. Thank you so much, Will Selva. So there are a couple of narratives surrounding both quarterbacks in this one. Kirk Cousins can't win on the big stage under the bright lights. We hear that a lot. And Dak Prescott's still waiting on that new deal. Who benefits more from a win Sunday night? It seems like sort of a silly question because it's a win or a loss, but it does mean something for each.
Yeah, when I hear you say Dak's contract, it's like whenever I hear an athlete say it's not about the money, it's about the money. It's like it's always about the money, except with Dak. I guess it's not about the money. I guess he doesn't care, which is amazing. So I don't think it's Dak. I got to look at the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and I just have this vision on Monday morning, and we come in here to the Good Morning Football program, and Kirk Cousins has thrown for 600 yards and 12 touchdowns, but the Vikings lost on a last-second field goal, and someone at the table says he can't win big games, and it's his fault. And I think that someone is to my right in the sweater, so I think it's Kirk Cousins.
Hey.
Kyle.
Yes.
Kyle, you pretend like you didn't watch the Bears last year go in with a game they didn't need on week 17 in a spot where Cousins had to win to get in the playoffs, and he and Thielen are arguing on the sidelines because they can't get anything going.
You're talking about last year.
You're acting okay. Well, let's go back to his Redskins years where Cousins had to just beat a lifeless Giants team that had already been into the playoffs, all the back, and he can't do it at home, or a Monday night game against the Panthers. Like, I'm not making it up. Cousins doesn't fare well in games in prime time. And so
what do you need? What do you need?
Yeah, even if he wins this one, that goes away. No, it doesn't.
It helps.
Yeah. It helps.
It helps.
At least the Cowboys, they're all right.
It helps. So lets me say, okay, at least Sunday night he did it.
Yeah.
Because as great as he played against the Rams last year on a Thursday night, they lost. As great as we did flips about how he's played in other games, he loses. And I don't want to discredit a primetime game against the Redskins on a Thursday night, but it was the Redskins at home on a Thursday night, and we came on the show and did flips about Cousins and called him the MVP because of it.
See, Peter, I think you're lying. I think they win this game, and when Kirk Cousins plays well, I think you're like, get to the playoffs. You're paid to get to the play. I do.
And that's fair. And that's fair because
he's won big games. He has to do it consistently. That's
fair, Kyle, because you said it's about the money, which it is. It's about the money in the moments. Because with both of these individuals, you can ask a blanket statement, and we all have asked this before and after Kirk got paid, and now that Dak is trying to get paid. Is he really worth the money? Dak Prescott. Is he really worth the money? Whoa, that's a big deal Kirk Cousins got. Is he really worth the money? You know what happens? The money is attached to the moments. I can care less about the box scores, Kyle. I want to focus on the third and fourth quarter when there's certain throws that he has to make. Is he making those throws? If he goes for 400 yards and 5 TDs, but he missed 5 throws that could have changed the game, you know what I'm going to come up here and talk about? Those 5 throws that could have changed the game. And when it comes to Dak Prescott, I'll do the same thing. So there's going to be moments in this second half. Forget about the box scores for a second. Those at home, you want something to watch? Let's see, out of these two quarterbacks, who is going to have that moment where they say, this game is mine and I'm not letting my team lose. The pocket collapses. My receiver doesn't have an opening, but I'm going to zero a ball to the back of his shoulder. He's going to catch it and score a touchdown. One of these guys are going to have to throw that ball. And let's see who does it.
But if Kirk doesn't do it, it's the same old story. If Dak doesn't do it and doesn't have those moments you're talking about, it's going to be held against him in negotiations. Because if they do not get the playoff seeding, this feels like a very different Cowboys team when that negotiation does happen.
And I feel like Dak has had more comebacks than Kirk Cousins. So maybe Dak's a little bit more clutch.
We have a fresh edition of Total Access coming your way tonight, and it's after Thursday Night Football. Lindsey Rhodes, James Jones, what do you have in store?
Thank you. Good morning, football. After the Chargers-Raiders game ends, keep it here for NFL Total Access. Is Oakland for real? Are the Chargers back in business? The AFC West just got interesting.
I think you mean more interesting. It's coming down to the wire.
Maybe 3 teams going to the playoffs? We'll see. We've got a whole slew of Week 10 debuts coming your way. Josh Gordon in Seattle, Kareem Hunt in Cleveland, Ryan Finley in Cincinnati. You predicting some offensive sparks?
I'm predicting these 3 dudes right here are going to be very hungry to prove somebody wrong.
That works. Plus a deeper dive into the Vikings Cowboys game. All of that and more after the post-game show right here on a very tan NFL Total Access.
You see the swag.
You both look great. Baker Mayfield has some looks that were scrutinized heavily throughout the week, and he's